What's going on, everyone? It's your friendly neighbourhood Grommet back again, and I hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas and will go on to have a very splendid New Year. So I'm back with a new vinyl haul today. It has been 3 months since I have last done one, and as you see here, yeah, I've got quite a lot of records since then, and that isn't even the bulk of it. That's just, I've kind of pulled aside all the good stuff that I've got over the last 3 months, over the winter holidays, and I'm going to show you them today. So, because there is so much here, I thought I'm not going to dilly-daff around, and I'm going to get into showing you some of these awesome new vinyl pickups. So these are in no order this time, because there's about 40 records here. I couldn't really be bothered putting them all into different orders. So I'm going to start off with a copy of The Crazy World of Arthur Brown. Now these first 3 I picked up yesterday at the Windermere Record Fair, kind of my local record fair. And it's actually the first record fair I've ever been to. I went with my dad and my dad's friend. And my dad was so kind to pay for some of these records. And well, I put my money towards it, he put some money towards it as well. And this is one that I picked up, The Crazy World of Arthur Brown. Now, this is a classic album, and it's one that I've wanted in my collection for a long time. Arthur Brown, synonymous with, you know, the flower movement and stuff like that, but also has elements of kind of that very early metalness. I think that Alice Cooper really inspired by Arthur Brown and his kind of stage presence. So there is record number 1. So as well, I picked up a copy of Fresh Fruit for Rotten Vegetables, Dead Kennedys. This was a tenner, and I mean, for a tenner, it doesn't have the poster or anything, but I mean, it's a classic punk album. Jello Biafra, so forth, so on, Kill the Poor, Let's Lynch a Landlord, Holiday in Cambodia. You know, this is a classic album, and I'm happy to finally have it in my collection. And now we already get into one of the big finds of the haul, and there's so many records here, but this is definitely up there with one of the best, and everyone knows how much I love Zeppelin, and if you've seen my previous videos, you'll know this has been on my want list for a while. Yep, that's right, this is a first pressing of Led Zeppelin 1. Now this doesn't have the turquoise lettering because I'm not loaded, but this is a nice, lovely Plum label copy to have, and it has the matrix error where I think the matrix was wrong, so one of the letters is actually scribbled out and the person who was cutting the record scratched in the right letter. But this plays without skipping or anything, and I picked this up. It was 60 quid originally. I got it down to 40, and that is a price I feel very happy for with this record, and it's brilliant to finally have this in the collection. So there we go. Finally, a copy of Zeppelin 1. Oh. Next up, we go to one of my Christmas Day records, and this is one that people might not know I like, but this is Candlemass's Nightfall, Swedish doom metal outfit. This has one of my favourite songs of all time on it, A Well of Souls, and got this for Christmas Day. Quite a rare record to come by, this, but when you get it for about 25 quid for an original on the Axis label, not bad at all, very not bad at all. So there's Candlemass, an absolute, if you've never listened to them before, you should absolutely check them out. And to stay on the doom metal vibe, I picked up a copy of Sleep's Holy Mountain. Now this is Stoner Doom. They went on to create a album called, oh, I forgot what it was called now, but it's like a 1 hour long album and it's all one song. I think it's called like Hash, something to do with weed. But this is I've never listened to that album, but I know they've made it. But this album I have listened to, and it is a classic album, another must listen to for anyone that's into their more doom, slow kind of driven metal, especially if you're a stoner. Now next up, I've been, as you saw at the Dead Kennedys, I've been really getting back into punk recently, and this was a pickup for me about 2 months ago now, and it's an album that I've listened to since I was that tall, and I got a signed copy of 999's debut album, signed by Nick Cash there, the lead singer and rhythm guitarist of the band. This has songs like Me and My Desire, Chicane, Destination, Crazy, Your Number Is My Number, and my favourite song on this album is Titanic, My Overreaction. Absolute classic punk this, and it's awesome to have a copy in the collection now, especially signed by the frontman. Next up, what do we have here? Here's one I picked up in Barrow. It's Fat Bob's CDs and Vinyl, a great record shop in Cumbria if anyone wants to check Fat Bob's out. And I got a copy of Are We Not Men? No, They Are Devo. And people will ask me what colour this particular copy is on. It's on red vinyl, and yeah, I saw a yellow copy at the record fair the other day as well. But I've already got this copy now, so I thought, nah, I'll stick with this one. And this is a classic album again. Next up, what do I have here? Looks like we've got all the punk albums. Well, this is post-punk really. This is Gang of Four's Entertainment. It was a bugger trying to find this record for cheap, and I got this for about 35 quid, which is actually very cheap. These records go for like 100 quid. So it's great to pick one up for around 35. Ether, Damaged Goods, Amateurist at Home. You know, this is classic post-punk. And the guitar on this album and the drums, fucking awesome, man. Really great. This is Gang of Four Entertainment. And another one that if you've never listened to it, you should absolutely listen to it. My favourite song on this album is probably Ether, but I like Natural's Not In It as well. I like At Home He's a Tourist. I found that Essence Rare, Glass as well. All brilliant songs. Not a single song that I would turn off on this album. Next up, I've got a copy of Pill, first issue. This doesn't have the inner sleeve with it, but it is a first pressing, I do believe. My dad said that the original pressings came on the Green Virgin label, but I've never actually seen a copy like that, so unless that's like for a demo one, maybe someone could leave in the comment section if it did come like that. But yeah, Public Image Limited's first issue. Favourite song on this is Religion 2. And of course the title track. Next up, staying on with some Johnny Rotten, some John Lydon. Picked up a copy of Nevermind the Bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols. This is the reissue, so not too special, but I didn't have it in my collection and I needed to get one. But I will be in the new year trying to find an original virgin pressing of this album. So there we go, Nevermind the Bollocks. Don't need to say much about Nevermind the Bollocks. Everyone knows it is one of the greatest albums of all time. And then, still carrying on the punk kind of vibe. This is Joy Division Still. This is a kind of like a B-sides compilation thing. I picked this up when I was still at uni and I still had my student loan and was going a bit crazy with it. And yeah, great album. Unknown Pleasures, as people know, is my favourite, not my favourite, but one of my favourite albums of all time. And I currently don't have it in the collection, but this will do for now. I'm waiting to get an original copy of Unknown Pleasures. That's a big one on my want list, but I'll need a bit more cash handy for a copy like that. But yeah, Still. Oh. Got some Buzzcocks. This is their first album, In a Different Kitchen. Favourite track on this is Late for the Train. Pete Shelley, needed some of him in my collection, and so I got this album. Still need to get Love Bites, but In a Different Kitchen is still an awesome album as well, and a must listen for anyone into their punk. But if you're into your punk, I mean, and you haven't listened to the Buzzcocks, can you really say you're into your punk? Now, this is a Christmas one. Got this for Christmas. Thank you very much, Mum and Dad. This is Clark Kent's I wouldn't call it like a full album, but technically it is. It's on 10-inch disc, and if anyone doesn't know who Clark Kent is, it is Stuart Copeland. And yeah, as a drummer, I love Stuart Copeland, and his solo work is actually very, very good, and one that people really need to listen to. I think that Clark Kent's work, Stuart Copeland's work, it's a bit more punk infused as well than The Police. This came out in 1980 and is on a lovely marble green A&M label. And then this is the last one for the mainly punk related stuff, and it is an original 1977 copy of The Clash. And this completes my Clash collection, other than Cut the Crap, which is crap. But this album is sensational. Police and Thieves, one of my favourite songs of all time. And I mean, I'm pretty sure Martin Scorsese said this is the quintessential punk album. And again, don't really need to say you need to listen to this album, because I think everyone's heard this album or some album by The Clash before. And finally having a original on the orange and yellow CBS label in my collection. What else more could you want in the world? So that huge pile there was mainly punk. And now we go on to, I guess you could call Alice Cooper like kind of proto-punk, the same kind of vein as Iggy Pop. This is $1 Billion Babies. Picked this up for £1, so not bad at all. And yeah, classic album. And I didn't have any Alice Cooper in my collection. It's missing the big $1 billion kind of like huge poster thing that came with it. But I mean, I didn't actually pay £1 for this. I paid about 10 or so. Just put it in a sleeve that says £1. Sorry for fooling you, everyone. But yeah, $1 Billion Babies. Looking at the time, we're on 12 minutes and we're not even halfway through this fucking lot yet. James Gang Rides Again. I picked this up for £6. Never been a big fan of the Eagles, but I like the early Joe Walsh stuff. I do still think he's an awesome guitar player. And yeah, it's very hard to find this kind of stuff in England. I think it was really more suited for the American market. Very southern rock this. But I like it. It's James Gang Rides Again, and it's in my collection. Next up, we got a copy of Graham Nash's Song for Beginners. This is on the Plum label. And as anyone knows, I love my Plum labels. I've got quite a few Plum labels coming up in this video. And this is one that I wanted because I like Graham Nash, I like the Hollies, and I like Crosby, Stills and Nash. And yeah, it's not the most insane album of all time, but it's very acoustic, it's very mellow, and you know, smoke a joint, you know, and sit back and listen to this album. You know, it's what it's for. Next up, I picked up some Pink Floyd for cheap. Dark Side of the Moon. This is like a third pressing or something. I don't really know the Pink Floyd pressings, but yeah, Dark Side of the Moon in my collection now. And yeah, classic album. And actually, my favourite Pink Floyd album, other than Piper at the Gates of Dawn, is Animals, and I got a copy of that as well in the same bundle of 2. So I paid about £5 each for these, so not bad at all. Condition is a bit poor, but the records don't skip or anything, so that's all that matters. So Animals in the collection as well now. Crosby, Stills and Nash. Thank you very much, Mum and Dad, for picking me this up for Christmas. And yeah, I've got this on Deja Brew now. Deja Vu. Deja Brew is a fucking coffee shop in my local town. But yeah, Crosby, Stills and Nash. Classic album. Marrakesh Express. Next up, the last Zeppelin for the video. I picked up a copy of Houses of the Holy. This is actually probably the first record I picked up after the last record haul. I've had this for like 3 months now, and it is a first pressing, and it's in decent condition. I paid £15 for this, which isn't bad at all really. It's missing obviously the kind of like, I wouldn't call it an Obi sticker because that's Japan exclusively, but you know, like the kind of flap around paper label thing that went there. And it's got the original inner sleeve. Houses the Holy. Not my favourite Zeppelin album, but definitely not my least favourite. Some great songs on there. The Ocean, The Crunge. Oh, fucking excellent. Picked up a copy of Rainbow Rising for a couple of quid. Richie Blackmore's band after he left Deep Purple. And yeah, this has obviously got a Dio in it as well. So yeah, bit of metal. Wouldn't really call it metal, it's hard rock really, Rainbow, but they kind of get thrown into the metal category as it is Dio singing. But this is great. Stargazer is a fucking absolutely classic song. And the drums in that song, as a drummer, blow my mind. Next up, we got From Rainbow to Frank Sinatra. This is Come Fly With Me. You know, this is something I usually wouldn't pick up. I love Frank Sinatra, don't get me wrong. I love his movies and I love his music. But it's not something, you know, that I need in my record collection. But I found this for 50 pence. And it is a original US stereo, so I thought, well, absolutely, for 50p, you have to pick it up. And it is in my collection on the beautiful Rainbow Capital label. Coming close to the end, like I said, I was going to go through these very quickly, so this video didn't end up being, it's going to be over 20 minutes, but I didn't want to end up being, you know, like an hour long. Some more Plum goodness, I Am Butterfly. And a Gada La Vida, Gada Da Vida. Yeah, I like I Am Butterfly. I like this album. I mean, to be honest, I never really listened to it before I picked it up. I just knew that it was one that I needed in my collection. But I picked it up, and it's on the Plum label, and it's in my collection, and it's alright. Definitely kind of that early proto-metal and psych rock going on here, but I like Most Anything You Want, and I like Termination on this album as well, but it's in my collection now, and there's nothing that is going to make this record suddenly disappear from it. So there we go, I Am Butterfly in the collection. Some more Plum goodness. I picked up Vanilla Fudge's first album. Again, I'd never really listened to Vanilla Fudge outside of you know, You Keep Me Hanging On, but I found this for 20 quid, and I've always loved this cover, and I love the Plum label, so here it is in my collection. Vanilla Fudge. Oh, what do we have now? I'm going to do these albums in order. Disraeli Gears. How about that? This was my favourite out of, well, can't really say favourite, you know, any Christmas gift, any Christmas gift is going to be my favourite, you know, happy to have anything at Christmas. This is definitely up there with one of my favourite Christmas gifts. And it's actually, it came with, actually the Clark Kent record that I got for Christmas came with one of the awesome, what are they called, original master sleeves. So this is in like the best sleeve in my collection. But I'm going to try and pick up some more of these, and also the flip back kind of record sleeves, because it just looks so much better like this. Like for the rest of the video I'll be doing little shots of kind of like the vinyl for each of these, just like second shots. But I don't need to do it there. You can see it's on the beautiful Reaction label, and it is a mono pressing. Then I also got Wheels of Fire. This is the in the studio one. I paid 2 quid for this, and after I got this I decided I'm going to try and collect all the Cream albums. So there it is. Yeah, I mean, White Room is a classic song. Disraeli Gears is easily the better album. But yeah, Wheels of Fire. These Cream covers are always just beautiful. And then for a quid, picked up Live Cream as well. So yeah, that's just Live Cream in the collection. coming up to the last couple of ones now. Picked up a copy of Black Sabbath. This is the reissue, but I didn't have a copy of Black Sabbath's debut album in the collection, so it is now. Again, bands like Black Sabbath, I don't need to talk really much about them because everyone knows that I love Black Sabbath. Here's a first pressing of Quadrophenia by The Who. This has the book, a very hefty record indeed. And yeah, I prefer Tommy, but songs like The Real Me are just some of my favourite music of all time. Love Rain or Me as well, of course, on this album. And it's in the collection, Quadrophenia. I think I paid 30 for that one. It was 40, I paid 30. Only Rolling Stones one for today is Rolling Stones number 2. Got this at the same place where I got Aftermath for the same price. So yeah. Not my favourite Rolling Stones album by any great stretch of the imagination. I think that has to go to Let It Bleed. Last kind of new one I picked up is this copy of the Beano album, as many people call it. And if any people who know me watch this video, I love the Beano as well. But John Mayall with the Blues Breakers, Eric Clapton on this album, classic blues rock. And this is a reissue. Oh. I see people actually on eBay selling the record, the original first pressing of the Blues Breakers, and alongside it the exact copy of the Beano that Eric Clapton is reading on the cover, and they want like 500 quid for them. Blows my mind. And now finally, we're down to our last two, and they are both Beatles. Knew some Beatles are going to have to go on here. This is a Mono, A Hard Day's Night. I got for $3.99 because the sleeve is destroyed. And then, finishing off on my favourite album of all time, a mono copy of Revolver. Matrix on this is side 1 -1, side 2 -2, so it is not the unreleased, the remix 11 of Tomorrow Never Knows. Yeah, Revolver in the collection, and that is it. Easily probably going to be the biggest vinyl haul I'll ever do in my life on this channel. Goodness gracious, and somehow we've kept it at 22 minutes. Now I'm going to stop recording, and I'm going to put all these records back, but as I'm doing it I'm going to make some little clips so you can see the labels and stuff like that. I don't know why I'm describing exactly what I'm going to do after this video ends. I should end it right now because I feel like I might be about to have a mental breakdown. Thank you for watching, everyone. I really hope you have a very good New Year's, and I'll see you next year. Goodbye.